Today, I want to share a story that will touch your heart and help you learn English in a powerful way. It's the story of Emma, a young woman who had everything: wealth, luxury, and a life many people dream of. But behind all the shiny things, Emma felt something very different: loneliness and emptiness. Have you ever felt like that? Like you have everything on the outside, but something is missing inside? If yes, then Emma's story will feel very real to you. This story is not just about money or leaving a rich life behind. It's about courage, hope, and the deep human desire to find true happiness. As you listen and read, you will practice your English skills, listening, reading, and speaking, while following Emma's journey from pain to peace. You will hear simple but emotional language that helps you understand feelings and life lessons clearly. Each part of the story will help you see how Emma changes and grows, and how sometimes making a big change can be scary but also beautiful. You will learn useful words and phrases about emotions, choices, and new beginnings. This story is made for you, whether you are a beginner or intermediate English learner, so you can feel motivated and inspired while improving your English. Get ready to step into Emma's world, feel her struggles and joys, and discover important lessons about life and language. Let's begin this journey together. Listen carefully, follow along, and don't worry if you don't understand every word. The most important thing is to enjoy the story and feel connected. Now, let's start with Emma's glittering life and see what happens when everything changes. Chapter 1. The Glittering Life. Emma's life looked perfect to everyone around her. She lived in a large, beautiful house on a quiet street in the city. The walls were white and bright, with big windows that let the sunlight in every morning. Her rooms were full of expensive furniture, soft carpets, and shiny decorations that sparkled like stars. Outside, her garden was full of colorful flowers, and a small fountain made a gentle sound of water that calmed anyone who came near. Every day, Emma wore the finest clothes. She loved silk dresses and soft colors and jewelry that shone in the light. Her friends often asked where she bought such beautiful things. She smiled and said, "I'm lucky." But deep inside, Emma felt something very different. Despite all the luxury, she felt empty. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't see the happy woman others saw. She saw someone who was tired, someone who was lost. Money and beauty did not fill the space inside her heart. Emma's life was full of parties, dinners, and events. She wore a different dress almost every night and met many important people. They smiled at her and said, "You are so lucky, Emma. Your life is a dream." But Emma often felt like she was wearing a mask. Behind the smiles, she felt alone. At parties, while everyone talked and laughed, Emma sometimes stood quietly in a corner. She watched the happy faces but did not feel happy herself. She remembered times when she wished for a true friend to talk to, someone who understood her fears and dreams. But those moments were rare. Her family expected her to keep this perfect life. They wanted her to succeed, to marry well, and to be proud. Emma loved her family, but their expectations made her feel trapped. She wanted more than just riches. She wanted a life with meaning and peace. One evening, after a big celebration, Emma sat alone on her balcony. The city lights shone like stars below, but she felt colder than ever. The soft wind touched her face, and she thought about her childhood. Back then, she dreamed of traveling to far places, helping people, and feeling free. She smiled sadly because her life was so different now. Emma's best friend from school had once said, "Emma, you have everything, but do you have what makes you happy?" At the time, Emma did not know how to answer. Now, she understood. She did not have happiness. Her days started to feel the same, busy but empty. She woke up in her large bed, dressed quickly, and went to meetings or social events. Every night she pretended to be joyful. But when the lights went out, loneliness filled the silence. Sometimes Emma wondered if she was the only one who felt this way. She watched movies where people found love and happiness easily. Why was her heart so heavy? She wished for a change, but was afraid of leaving everything behind. Her life was like a beautiful glass vase. It looked strong and perfect, but inside it was fragile and empty. Emma wanted to break free from this glass and find something real, but the fear of the unknown held her back. At this moment, Emma did not know what the future would bring. She only knew that her glittering life was not enough. There was a question growing inside her, a question about what truly matters. Why did she feel so lonely in a life full of riches? Why did the things she owned not bring joy? These questions stayed with her like quiet whispers in the night. Emma's story begins here, in a world full of beauty, but empty inside. A story about courage, choice, and hope. A story about leaving behind the glitter to find the light that comes from within. And so, in the stillness of that night, Emma's heart began to change. Something deep inside whispered, "There is more to life than this." This quiet hope would soon grow into a powerful decision, one that would change everything. But for now, Emma waited, watching the city lights and dreaming of a new life beyond the glitter. Chapter 2. The Breaking Point. For a long time, Emma kept her feelings hidden. She smiled in front of others and played the part everyone expected. But inside, the pressure grew heavier every day. Her family wanted her to be perfect, always elegant, always successful. Friends expected her to join parties, dinners, and trips. They talked about her life as if it was a dream they all wished for. But Emma felt trapped inside a golden cage she could not open. One day, everything began to crack. Emma's closest friend, Lily, who had known her since childhood, stopped answering her calls. At first, Emma thought Lily was busy. But days passed, then weeks. Finally, Emma learned that Lily was upset with her. She said Emma had changed and no longer cared about true friendship. Instead, she cared only about appearances and wealth. Emma felt a sharp pain in her chest. How could Lily think that? She remembered all the times they laughed and talked for hours. Now it seemed like everything was gone. Emma tried to call Lily again, but no answer. The silence was louder than any words. This betrayal hit Emma deeply. For the first time, she saw clearly that money and parties could not protect her from loneliness. She had spent so much time trying to look happy, but inside, she was breaking. At a family dinner that same week, her parents asked why she seemed distant and quiet. They did not understand her sadness. "Emma, you have everything," her mother said gently. "Why do you not smile like before?" Emma wanted to explain, but the words stuck in her throat. How could she tell them that she felt empty, lost, and alone? She felt their disappointment like cold rain falling on her heart. That night, Emma sat in her room, staring at the ceiling. The expensive walls and bright lights around her felt like a prison. She thought about Lily, her family, and the life she was living. The loneliness felt worse than ever. She wondered, is this really my life? Is this what happiness feels like? Her heart was heavy with doubt. She remembered the dreams she once had of freedom, adventure, and true connection. Those dreams seemed far away now, almost impossible. Emma's fear grew. What if she could never be happy? What if she was stuck in this golden cage forever? The weight of expectations crushed her spirit. She tried to find comfort in her luxury, shopping, fancy dinners, beautiful clothes, but none of it worked. Everything felt empty, like a beautiful picture with no color inside. One evening, after a long day of pretending to be fine, Emma walked alone in her garden. The moon was bright, and the flowers smelled sweet, but Emma's heart was full of sadness. She whispered to herself, "I am tired. I don't know who I am anymore." In that quiet moment, she felt something break inside her. Not the life she had, but the illusion she had been living. The glitter and gold could no longer hide the pain. Emma realized that this was her breaking point. She could no longer live for others' expectations or hide behind money. She had to face the truth. Her life was not what she wanted. She needed change, even if it was scary. This moment of despair was also a moment of truth. It showed Emma that real happiness could not be bought or shown on the outside. It had to come from inside her heart. She did not have the answers yet. She was full of fear and confusion. But this crisis was important. It opened a door to a new beginning. Emma looked at the night sky and took a deep breath. She knew something had to change. She did not know what that change would be, but she felt a small spark of hope inside her, a hope for a different life. This hope grew quietly in her heart, ready to guide her toward a new path, a path where she would find meaning, courage, and peace. And so, with the weight of doubt still heavy, but the first light of hope shining, Emma's journey truly began. The question now was, what would she choose to do? Chapter 3. The Secret Dream. As Emma sat quietly in her room, the darkness around her felt softer than before. The heavy weight of sadness was still there, but beneath it, something new began to grow, a small, gentle light. She closed her eyes and let her mind drift back to a time long ago, to her childhood, when life was simpler and dreams were full of color. Emma remembered a secret dream she had as a little girl. It was not about fancy clothes or big parties. It was about something simple, something real. She dreamed of living in a small house near the forest, where the air was fresh and the trees whispered stories in the wind. She dreamed of waking up every morning to birds singing and helping people who needed kindness and care. In her dream, Emma saw herself with a smile, working with children in a small school or planting flowers in a garden that everyone could enjoy. She imagined a life where money was not the most important thing. Instead, love, friendship, and peace filled her days. That dream was warm like sunlight on her face and soft like the grass under her feet. It felt like a secret treasure she kept hidden deep inside her heart. But as she grew older, that treasure was buried beneath layers of glitter and gold. Emma thought about her current life. The large house with its cold, shiny walls, the expensive clothes she wore that felt heavy like armor, and the endless social events that left her feeling empty. She saw the sharp contrast between her secret dream and her real life. The dream was full of freedom and joy, but her life was full of rules and expectations. This memory made Emma's heart ache, but it also gave her hope. She remembered how innocent and brave she had been. As a child, she believed she could do anything. Now she wondered if she still could. For the first time in many years, Emma allowed herself to feel the courage to dream again. She thought, maybe there is more to life than what I have now. Maybe I can find that simple happiness I once wanted. This small hope grew like a seed in her heart. It gave her strength to question everything she had been told. Was wealth the true meaning of success? Was she living her own life or someone else's dream? Emma knew the answer was not easy. It meant making difficult choices and stepping into the unknown. But the thought of returning to that secret dream felt like a warm light in the darkness. She began to imagine what it would be like to leave behind the glitter and noise, to wake up one morning without the pressure to look perfect or to impress others, to find joy in small moments, a walk in the forest, a genuine smile from a friend, the peace of being herself. This vision filled Emma with a strange mix of fear and excitement. Fear of leaving the life she had always known, but excitement for the freedom she could find. She thought about the people who would not understand, her family, her friends, and the world that valued success by money and status. Would they support her? Or would they judge her for choosing a different path? Despite these questions, Emma felt a quiet power growing inside her. The power to choose what truly mattered, the power to follow her heart, even if it meant stepping into uncertainty. She opened her eyes and looked around her room, the expensive furniture, the sparkling lights, the silence that once felt cold but now felt different. It was time to listen to the secret dream again. Emma whispered softly to herself, I want to be happy. I want to live a real life, not just a beautiful picture. This moment was a turning point. The secret dream was no longer just a memory. It was a guide, a light calling her toward something new and meaningful. Emma did not have all the answers yet, but she had hope, and hope was enough to begin. The next step was clear. She needed to decide if she was brave enough to follow that dream. And so, with a heart full of quiet courage and a mind full of questions, Emma's journey moved forward toward a bold, life-changing decision. Chapter 4. The Decision to Leave. Emma's heart raced as she sat at the edge of her bed, holding a small suitcase. The soft light of the morning sun slipped through the curtains, but inside her, a storm of emotions was growing. She had made a decision that would change everything. She would leave her rich life behind. For years, Emma had lived in a world of luxury, but now that world felt like a cage. She knew it was time to break free. Yet, the fear was strong. What if she was wrong? What if leaving meant losing everything? Her family, her friends, her safety. The anxiety pressed down on her like a heavy weight. But underneath the fear, there was a spark, a quiet hope that this choice could bring her peace. The hardest part was telling her family. That evening, Emma sat across from her parents at the dinner table. The elegant room was filled with soft music and the clinking of fine china. But the air felt tense. Her mother looked at her with surprise. Emma, you seem different. Is something wrong? Emma took a deep breath. I need to talk to you. I've decided to leave, to live a different life. Her father's eyes widened. Leave? What do you mean? You have everything here. I know, Emma said, her voice shaking a little. But I don't feel happy. I need to find my own path. I want to live simply, close to nature, and help others. It's what I've dreamed of since I was a child. Her mother's face softened, but her voice was sad. We want the best for you. This life is comfortable and safe. Emma nodded. I understand, but comfort is not enough for me anymore. I need to be true to myself. Her father looked away, silent for a moment. Then he said quietly, This is your choice, Emma. We only want you to be happy. Emma felt tears in her eyes. It was painful to say goodbye to the life she had known and to see the worry in their faces. But it was also a moment of relief. She had spoken her truth. The next day, Emma called her closest friends. Some were shocked, some didn't understand. Why would you leave all this? They asked. You have everything others dream of. Emma listened patiently and replied, Because this life is not mine. I want something real, something that makes my heart feel alive. Not all conversations were easy. Some friends stopped talking to her, but others offered support and encouragement, reminding her she was brave. Packing was bittersweet. Emma folded her favorite dresses, knowing she would not wear them again. She took one last look at her luxurious room, the view of the city lights sparkling below, and felt a mix of sadness and hope. On the morning of her departure, Emma walked through the house slowly, touching the walls, the furniture, the memories held inside. It was like saying goodbye to a part of herself. Her heart ached, but she also felt excitement. For the first time in a long time, she was choosing freedom. Outside, the sky was bright and clear. The world seemed bigger and more open than ever before. As Emma stepped out the door with her suitcase in hand, she looked back once more. Then she turned forward, ready to face the unknown. The pain of leaving was real, but so was the joy of new beginnings. Emma's journey had truly started, and ahead of her were challenges she had never imagined, but she was ready to meet them, with courage and hope in her heart. Chapter 5. The New Beginning. Emma arrived in the small town just as the sun was rising. The air smelled fresh and clean, a sharp contrast to the city's heavy, smoky streets she had left behind. Here, the sky stretched wide and open, and the quiet was almost new to her ears. It was a big change from the noise and bright lights of her old life. Her new home was a simple, small house with white walls and a little garden. It was nothing like the large mansion she had once lived in, but it felt warm and welcoming in its own way. The wooden floor creaked softly beneath her feet as she explored each room. She smiled quietly to herself, feeling both nervous and excited. Starting a new life was harder than Emma had expected. She woke early every morning to the sound of birds instead of alarms. She worked at a local bookstore, a modest job that paid just enough for her needs. The work was slow and peaceful, but sometimes she felt tired and unsure. The rhythm of this life was different. It wasn't filled with endless parties or expensive dinners, but with simple tasks, organizing books, helping customers, and learning about the people who lived in the town. Emma missed her old life sometimes. She missed the comfort and luxury, the evenings when she could dress up and go out with friends, the feeling of being important and admired, but she also noticed something new growing inside her, a quiet strength. She was learning to enjoy small moments, The taste of fresh bread from the bakery, the warmth of the sun on her face, the smile of a stranger. Meeting new people was both exciting and scary. The townspeople were different from the people she had known before. They did not care about expensive clothes or cars. They valued kindness, honesty, and community. Emma slowly made friends who accepted her for who she was, not for what she owned. At first, the change was challenging. Emma often felt lonely and unsure if she had made the right choice. The small town felt strange and slow compared to her fast-paced past. But as days passed, she began to find peace in the quiet streets and green fields. She took long walks in the nearby forest, breathing in the fresh air and listening to the rustle of leaves. She learned to appreciate the beauty of nature, the way the light danced on the river, the colors of wildflowers, the songs of birds. These simple joys became a part of her daily life. They helped her heal the sadness she carried from before. Emma started to understand that happiness was not in wealth or status, but in moments of peace and connection. Sometimes the challenges felt big. There were days when Emma doubted herself, wondering if she was strong enough to continue. But each time, she remembered her secret dream, the one she had kept in her heart for so long. This new beginning was not easy, but it was real. And in this reality, Emma was growing in ways she had never imagined. She was learning patience, humility, and courage. She was discovering the power of living simply and honestly. The small town, with its calm and quiet, was teaching her to listen to herself again, to find joy in little things, to build a life based on love, not money. Emma's journey was just beginning, but already she could see how far she had come. She was no longer the lonely girl hiding behind glitter and gold. She was becoming someone new, someone true. And as the sun set over the peaceful town, Emma felt a calm she had never known before, a calm that promised hope and growth for the days ahead. Chapter 6. Facing Doubts and Challenges. As days turned into weeks, Emma found herself facing something she had not expected: doubt. The excitement of her new life began to mix with a quiet voice inside her, asking questions she tried to ignore. Was she really doing the right thing? Had she made a mistake by leaving her comfortable world behind? There were moments when she missed her old life deeply. She missed the soft silk of her favorite dresses, the sound of laughter at elegant parties, the feeling of power that came with her family name. Those memories felt like a warm blanket on cold nights. But now, wrapped in simple clothes and sitting alone in her small house, she wondered if she had given up too much. Money was tight. Emma had never worried about paying bills before, but now each dollar mattered. Sometimes she skipped meals to save a little more, and she learned how to live with less. The stress of financial struggle was new and difficult. It made her feel vulnerable, a feeling she hadn't known in years. Loneliness was one of the hardest challenges. In the city, even surrounded by people, Emma had felt alone. But here, in the quiet town, the silence sometimes felt heavier. She missed the constant noise, the busy streets, the crowd. She missed the easy conversations she used to have, even if they had been shallow. Now, conversations with new friends were slower, deeper, but also rare. One evening, Emma sat on the porch watching the stars. The sky was clear, but her mind was cloudy with worry. What if I'm not strong enough? She whispered to herself. What if I fail? Tears came quietly. She felt the weight of her choice pressing down like never before. It was easy to dream about a simple life, but living it was harder than she had imagined. But in those moments of doubt, Emma also found strength. She remembered why she had left. It wasn't to escape her problems, but to find something real. She told herself, "This is a journey. I will make mistakes, but I will keep going." Emma learned to be patient with herself. She understood that change takes time, and it is okay to feel lost sometimes. Each day was a new chance to grow, even if the steps were small. Slowly, she began to see the differences between her past and present not as losses, but as lessons. Her old life had been full of luxury, but empty of meaning. Now, though life was harder, it was honest and true. Emma started to find joy in little things again. The smile of a neighbor, the warmth of the sun, the taste of fresh vegetables from the market. These moments, simple and small, became the new treasures of her life. She also made mistakes, like trusting the wrong people or saying yes when she wanted to say no. But each mistake taught her something important about herself. Emma's journey was not perfect, but it was real. She learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to move forward despite it. She learned that true strength comes from facing doubts and challenges head-on. And she learned that happiness is not a place or thing, but a feeling that grows inside when we live with purpose. As Emma sat quietly that night, she felt a new kind of hope. A hope that was stronger because it was born from struggle. Her story was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning to deepen, and she was ready to discover what lay ahead. Chapter 7. Finding New Meaning. As time passed, Emma began to discover something she had never truly known before. Meaning. It came quietly, like a soft light breaking through a dark cloud. In the days when she felt strongest, she found herself drawn to others, not for what they could give her, but for what she could give back. One morning, she walked to the small community center where volunteers helped local families. At first, Emma was nervous. She wondered if she had the right skills or if people would accept her. But when she started helping to prepare meals and organize donations, she felt something inside her change. Helping others gave Emma a new kind of joy. It was different from the pleasure of shopping for herself or going to fancy events. This joy was deeper, calm, and steady. When she saw the smiles of those she helped, her heart felt full in a way money never could fill. She remembered how lonely she had felt in her rich life, surrounded by things but missing connection. Now, with every small act of kindness, she felt less alone. She made friends who cared about her true self, not her bank account or clothes. People shared their stories and struggles, and Emma learned to listen with an open heart. Emma also rediscovered passions she had ignored for years. She loved painting but had never taken time to create art in her busy life before. One afternoon, she sat outside under a big tree, brush in hand, and let colors flow on the canvas. The peaceful rhythm of painting helped her think and feel in new ways. Through her art and volunteering, Emma found a new purpose. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was living. Each day brought new chances to grow and connect. Her heart, once heavy with sadness and doubt, felt lighter. Fear slowly made space for faith. The faith that life could be beautiful even without riches or luxury. Emma's new meaning did not erase her past, but it changed how she saw it. The empty glitter of her old life now seemed like a distant memory, one that helped her appreciate the true beauty around her. She began to dream again, but these dreams were grounded in reality and hope. She imagined a future where she could continue to help others, create art, and live simply but fully. Her story was no longer about what she had lost, but about all she was gaining: the richness of connection, the joy of giving, and the peace of following her heart. Emma's journey was changing. From the pain of loneliness to the warmth of community, from fear to faith, she was becoming whole. And with each new step, she grew more ready for the future she was building, a future filled with purpose and love. Her transformation was just beginning, but already it shone bright, and this new meaning would guide her through whatever came next. Chapter 8: Rebuilding Confidence and Strength. Emma's journey was far from easy, but with every day she felt herself becoming stronger. The fear that once held her back started to fade, replaced by a quiet courage she never knew she had. Each small victory helped her build confidence, brick by brick, until she stood taller than before. At first, Emma was unsure. Simple tasks felt difficult. Talking to new people made her nervous. Even waking up early to go to work seemed like a challenge. But she did not give up. Instead, she reminded herself that growth comes slowly, like a tree reaching for the sun. One morning, something special happened, a moment Emma would never forget. She had volunteered to speak at a small local event about her experiences helping the community. At first, her hands shook and her voice felt soft and weak. But as she spoke, sharing her story honestly, something inside her changed. The people listening smiled and nodded, and she felt a warmth spread through her chest. That moment was a victory. It showed Emma that she could face her fears and be heard. She realized she was not the fragile person she had been before. She was someone who could stand in front of others and share her truth. That feeling of strength stayed with her long after the event ended. Emma's confidence grew in many ways. She learned new skills at work, asking questions without fear of judgment. She made plans for her future, believing she could reach her goals. When setbacks came, she met them with patience and determination, no longer defeated by mistakes. Her past self, the one who hid behind expensive clothes and silent sadness, felt distant now. She was becoming someone new, brave, hopeful, and ready to face life's challenges head-on. Emma's breakthrough was not just about speaking in public or learning new skills. It was about trusting herself, trusting that she deserved happiness and that she had the strength to build it. This growth changed how she saw the world. What once seemed impossible now felt within reach. Emma understood that true power comes from inside, from believing in yourself even when the path is hard. As Emma looked ahead, she felt more certain about her choices. She was no longer running from her old life or afraid of the unknown. Instead, she was moving forward with purpose and confidence. Her story was entering a new chapter, one filled with promise and courage. She knew that challenges would still come, but she was ready to meet them. This moment of strength was more than a victory. It was the foundation for everything Emma hoped to build next. And with that foundation, she could face the future without fear, knowing she had already overcome so much. Chapter 9: The Unexpected Gift. Just when Emma thought she had left her old life completely behind, something surprising happened. One quiet afternoon, while she was painting by the window of her small apartment, her phone buzzed with a message. It was from her sister, someone Emma hadn't spoken to in months. The words were simple, but they carried a weight Emma hadn't expected. Her sister wrote that she had been thinking about Emma and wanted to reconnect. She said she understood now why Emma had to leave, and she admired her courage. Emma's heart raced. For so long she had believed that by leaving she had lost everything: family, comfort, respect. But this message showed her that some connections still lived, quietly waiting for a chance to grow again. At the same time, another unexpected opportunity appeared. A local art gallery had seen some of Emma's paintings and invited her to display her work. This was a chance to share her passion with others and to build a new life that combined her talents with her values. It was a bridge between the past and the future, a way to honor who she was and who she wanted to become. Emma felt a mix of emotions. Joy, surprise, and hope all filled her at once. The fear she had carried for so long began to dissolve, replaced by a sense of peace. She realized that leaving her rich life did not mean losing everything. Instead, it had opened the door to something richer: authentic happiness and true connection. She thought back to the lonely days in her beautiful house, surrounded by things but feeling empty inside. Now, her life was full of meaning, friendship, and purpose. The journey had been difficult, but it had brought her here, to a place where hope shined brighter than ever. Emma smiled softly, knowing that her story was not about giving up, but about growing into a new, stronger self. This unexpected gift was proof that sometimes, when we let go of what we think we need, life gives us even more than we imagined. Her heart was full, not with wealth, but with love, courage, and the promise of a future she could create on her own terms. And with that promise, Emma felt ready to face whatever came next, carrying both her past and her new life forward, hand in hand. Chapter 10: The New Life and Lessons Learned. Emma's days had changed in ways she never imagined. Now she lived simply but happily in the small town that once felt strange and new. Her mornings began with the soft light of the sun, the fresh air filling her lungs as she walked through quiet streets. No longer surrounded by glitter and noise, Emma found peace in the calm and the ordinary. She worked at the local community center, helping others who, like her, were searching for something more than money and status. Emma shared her story openly, how she had left behind her rich life, not because she gave up, but because she chose to find true happiness. Her words touched many hearts and inspired others to believe that change was possible. Looking back, Emma understood that happiness was never about wealth or possessions. It was about courage. The courage to be honest with yourself, to face your fears, and to follow your dreams, no matter how difficult the path might seem. She had learned that true wealth comes from connection, purpose, and self-belief. Sometimes, Emma still missed parts of her old life: the comfort, the luxury, the easy smiles from family at special events. But those memories no longer held power over her. Instead, they reminded her of how far she had come. The loneliness she once felt had been replaced by friendship and love. Fear had transformed into faith in herself and her future. Emma's story was a full circle, from pain to peace, from isolation to belonging, from doubt to confidence. She knew now that life is not about staying safe in one place, but about growing, changing, and finding your own way to shine. To anyone listening, Emma's message was clear. Don't be afraid to leave what no longer serves you. It takes courage to change, but the reward is a life that feels true and full. Your path may be different from others, and that is okay. What matters most is that it is your path. As Emma spoke these words, she smiled with warmth and hope. Her journey was still unfolding, but she walked forward with confidence, ready for whatever came next. And so, her story became not just a tale of leaving behind riches, but a story of finding the richest life, one filled with love, purpose, and endless possibilities. May you find your own courage to change, and may your story be just as bright. Thank you for listening to Emma's story today on Read and Learn English. I hope her journey touched your heart and helped you practice your English in a meaningful way. Remember, learning a language is more than just words and grammar. It's about connecting with stories and feelings that inspire us to grow. If you enjoyed this story, I encourage you to listen to it again. Repetition is one of the best ways to improve your English. Each time you listen, you will understand more, remember new words, and feel more confident speaking. Try to repeat the sentences out loud and imagine yourself in Emma's place. This will help you speak English naturally and with emotion. Also, don't forget to share this story with friends or family who want to learn English too. Talking about stories and practicing together can make learning more fun and easier. If you have your own story or experience about change and courage, please share it in the comments. We all learn better when we connect with others. Finally, remember Emma's lessons. True happiness comes from courage, love, and following your dreams. You can find your own path in life and English learning. Be patient, believe in yourself, and keep moving forward. Thank you again for being part of Read and Learn English. Keep practicing, keep dreaming, and I look forward to sharing more stories with you soon. Until next time, listen again, speak out loud, and never stop learning.